Hello and welcome to our Bradby Chat on ThePapare.com, and we are here in between the legs, so to speak, and we have two very special guests once again to talk about the second leg of the Bradby. As you know, Royal leading by 22 points to 17 going into the second leg, a 5-point win, and to talk about that we have former national selector, Sri Lanka player and CHNFC player as well, Mr. Rohan Abayakoon from Trinity College, and joining him this time, Mr. Ravi Wijenathan, his former teammate at CHNFC, also a national selector and former Royal player from 79 to 81 and also a Sri Lanka player. Ravi, great to have you on board. Rohan, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment.
Looks like you are. The same scoreline as last year's first leg, Rohan, when you look at the historical evaluation of it, 22 points to 17, the same scoreline that Trinity came back from. So are you hopeful?
There's always hope. I just hope, like I said in the first segment of this talk show, that we don't have a tie again. So that's not something that I will be looking forward to. I hope there's a clear winner. Hopefully it will be Trinity, and if it's not, I think Royal winning would be better than having a tie.
Ravi, it was a pitched battle at Pallekele. It was always a difficult place to travel to, but there was also this additional layer of having a league title to win. Now that layer has been taken off. So does that make things easier, or does it reduce the intensity a little bit for Royal?
I think definitely it will take the intensity out of the team, Chanak. But saying that, I would say that it's not going to be that easy for Royal, because for Trinity, it's they have lost the shield, they lost the league. Then shield is something now they can fight for. I think I remember Rohan. I watched it on Facebook, and I saw Rohan saying, "We are not going to go for the shield; we are going to go for the league." So that was basically, now Trinity will concentrate on getting the Bradby back probably, and that will it's basically that will cover their entire performance for the season.
And it was Trinity who scored the first try of the game as well. Rohan, at that point you would have thought, okay, there's something in this, but they seem to depart from that game plan. What went wrong?
It's a good question. I think Trinity probably tactically got it a bit wrong. I think, especially after about the first 20 minutes. I think when I spoke the last time, I said this time the Trinity front five in particular can match up to the Royal front five, and in that sense there's an edge with Trinity. But when that failed to kick in, I think they should have gone back to where the strengths were, and that was in the backs. And if you, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the score line in the try scoring department was 3-zip in the backs for Trinity and 3-zip for Royal in the forwards. So they should have gone back to that. I think they took on the Royal front five a bit too much. It also played into Royal's hands because they love playing that way. And I also think that it also sapped the energy out of the Trinity front five. And when they didn't need to hit, especially in second or third phase ball, they kept on doing it. So I think strategically they got it completely wrong, especially when it didn't work for them. And I hope they learn from it and come good in the second leg, where they use their backs more and probably also use tactical kicking more, which I think could also be an area that Trinity can capitalize on.
Ravi, watching that game, was there ever a point you thought that the result was in doubt, or were you always confident that Royal were going to win it?
It was at the beginning. Trinity has an ability, Shanak, if you see in the past Bradbys, when they come into the Royal line, they always score. So this is something which is not new to Royal. They come and they score and go back. So when it happened in Pallekele, it was a bit of a concern for the whole boys, was watching this. They said, okay, my gosh, it's going to be, is a Trinity. But then this Royal side has this ability to come back, which we have seen in the past matches. They have gone down, to see against the Anthony's, they were 3 tries down. But still they fought and came back. So they have the ability to fight back and adjust their situation. The structured game seems to be, they have taken the structured game in a very much more aggressive manner, and they know what they are doing. So they are very confident. If they lose a couple of tries, they know they can come back and do these things right, and probably go to the corners of the field and do what they are best at.
Ravi, despite being the lighter pack and you being a front row forward, you would have been very happy in watching the lighter forwards of Royal actually overcome the Trinity scrum.
I think that is something Royal has been always strong at Shanaka. Royal have been always good in their forward play, especially in the front five, when we concentrate on scrummaging, and that is something Royal have mastered, and that is something has improved, and I think they do it quite well. I think we have got Dushan with us, who is, I think he has put some, what do you call, cream up the cakes which was made earlier. So I think we have a perfect situation. I think that's something which Royal probably will use, to the advantage, even in the second leg.
Is that something that Trinity have the goods to combat, Rohan? Because it was a little bit concerning, because the Trinity pack was almost 100 kilos heavier man for man, and then suddenly you see them getting pushed 5 meters, 10 meters back.
Yeah, that was a stat I didn't actually know prior to a few days ago. I think trying to fix technical issues in 2 weeks is a challenge, but I hope Trinity have looked at it and they try to fix it. I think one area that Trinity has to be suffering is technically, and I don't think they were really tested technically till this game. The front five forwards kind of dominated most games they played against the opposition, because technically those teams were not as sound as Royal was, and so they were found wanting, and that's why I said tactically they should have adapted. The moment they struggled at the breakdown, the moment they struggled in the set piece, Trinity should have changed their game plan, and that didn't happen. Maybe they'll work out something to improve the techniques of the game for the second leg, but there's only so much you can do. I think this Royal side is well drilled. To give 100 kilos to the opposition and be technically superior at the breakdown and the set piece is something that just doesn't come a couple of weeks. It takes a whole season to get there, or a couple of maybe 9 months of the season to get there. So I think Trinity is going to struggle anyway in that area. So they'll have to change their game plan tremendously and not rely on trying to combat Royal technically, because that's not something that can happen in 2 weeks.
To be fair, that's not where you lost the game. It was lost on some unforced errors, like kicking the ball dead and kicking full out when you didn't have to kick full out. Those are pressure issues, Rohan. You think they'll deal with the pressure a little bit better this week?
I think you're spot on in saying that. Actually, I think to me personally, the turning point of the game was when Trinity were a score up and they kicked to the corner and the ball went dead. I think if Trinity got the line out there and attacked and scored there, the whole dynamic of the game would have changed, because 10-12 up in the first 7 or 8 minutes, it becomes a different ball game. So I don't think that was a pressure situation then. It was just focus and concentration. That's all it was, because Trinity were dominating. They had scored already, so there was no pressure on the kicker. It was just lack of concentration. It's just little things like that. Yeah. That's finally cost you games. And I think Royal, in that sense, also missed some line kicks, at least 2 or 3. I think their standoff missed at least 2 or 3 line kicks in the first half, which could have all been scoring opportunities for them. So the dice rolls both ways. But I think in Trinity's point, I think that first miss to touch cost them that game, in my opinion.
Ravi, this Royal team, one thing we've noticed about them is very quick to capitalize on other people's mistakes, which is exactly what they did at Pallekele as well. So you think that trend is going to continue?
Definitely, I think it seems that they have mastered it, and we have this Janindo Dilshan, who has been an expert in intercepting or picking after a tackle and running through. So I think that basically they will watch. Probably the coaches would have studied the weaknesses of certain players, and they would look for certain opportunities what you could do, or you can create that opportunity by doing certain things on the field. So that's possibly something Royal will continue to do. So, Shanaka. When also Royal has this, advantage, I feel, in the home ground, which is, of course, in 2011 it was a reverse story. The first time Trinity came back and, beat Royal in the stadium, and that was a convincing win. But I still feel, Royal has this edge. Just a little of analysis, I think we look at Pallekele is slightly width-wise, maybe 1 or 2 meters. And
wider, is it?
Wider, and here it's going to be much a little more. So that's going to be a little more running space less for the Trinitians and little more holding space for Royal. So that will be something, and Royal can work on that. So that it will be. So Trinity will have to play within that. So they will have to understand how they can work in. How can they create those huge gaps they are capable of creating inside through their forwards and 3 quarters, which will be hard pressed in Reed Avenue.
Yeah, and I think Rohan is wondering where you buy your foot ruler from, Ravi. But
We are wondering whether that is more than the real requirement in Palakali.
This is the first time I'm hearing that the width is short at Royal Complex. I didn't know that before.
well, that's
It's actually little more than the minimum requirement, but it's not as Palakali. Palakali, and I think the Reed Avenue the sports complex, this is what you call
Race course.
Race course also has quite a larger,
quite a long, large width for players to run into. So, looking at the kicking game, Rohan, there was almost no kicking game from Trinity out of hand. Do you think that might need to change a little?
Definitely. I think if you look back at some of the games that Royal struggled during the season against the likes of Isipatana, maybe even the St. Anthony's game, I think there was a lot of kicking from those two sides. I mean, Royal forwards are stretched. I think that's where you find vulnerabilities in them, because if you play the short game or the close game, I think you play into their hands. Royal, of course, will be aware that Trinity will come back hard. They'll probably look at countering those areas where Trinity is hoping to capitalize on. But still, it's on the day. I think kicking has to be intelligent and tactical. And let's see how it comes through. It's going to be interesting, because possession is going to be an area that Trinity will probably struggle a little harder at Royal Complex. It's always hard to play Royal at their home grounds, and Royal are pretty clinical in that area. So I think Royal will come dominate possession. And if Trinity has only 20 or 30% of the possession, they're going to struggle with the tactical kicking, because when they have ball in hand, then they'll have to use it. But if Trinity does have a fair share of the possession, then you can see this all-round game coming into play, and then hopefully Trinity will do something different that will give them the edge that they need.
Ravi, the recent history of letting Trinity back into last year's tie, will that be playing on the boys' minds at all?
I don't think, Shanak. I think now the boys have understood that this is not a pressure game when you compare with the league, and you have to win that. But now it is just fully focused that they have to win the Bradby, and this Bradby Shield, winning the Bradby Shield has caught up so much with these teams now. So I think they are fully geared, and they will. I think making a draw is something. I think basically I don't think it's right to say it's a draw is not the ideal situation. Both would like to win the Shield, But of course, if it happens, then it's ideal to share it. But Royal as a team, I don't think that they will like to go into the same situation, because end of the day, it is something when you win the Shield and in your ground and be part, then you can really call it on your own. When it's in a tie, it's not really that you have. Now sometimes when you lose the Bradby after winning the second leg, you will feel that okay, you won, but at the same time both sides are in sort of not a very happy mood. You win the Shield, but you have lost the game, Bradby. At the same time, you have won a Bradby game, but you lost the Shield. So it's not really. So ideally, both teams would love to win both games and say that we won the Shield, right and square.
So let's see what's going to happen. Finally, Ravi, what do you think is going to be the score? I'm not going to ask you who's going to win.
I think Royal will have roughly, I would say it will be a 10-point margin.
Okay.
In the game.
And Rohan, what do you think?
Well, I said I would be happy if Trinity won by 1 in the first leg. So Trinity needs to win by 6 in the second leg, and I'll take that.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, Ravi Wijenathan, Rohan Abayakoon, thanks very much for joining us on ThePapare. We'll find out whose prediction comes true, and that's going to be on Saturday, the 3rd of June. Join us live here on ThePapare.com to catch the passion of the Bradby.